These are called a drapery formation, and these are a wafer formation. These have a nickname. We call these our giant potato chips. I bet you can't eat one. How about that? Here we have our Leaning Tower of Pisa, just like in Italy, right? And a few music lovers, our little monkey here with his bongos and sunglasses playing us a tune. And for you movie lovers, no pizza lovers, just movie lovers, here we have little E.T. He didn't go home, he's right here. Little E.T. Next up, Saracens tent. Now you know what that was, right? Okay. Our next formation is directly behind me here. This is called Saracens tent. Well, where'd the name come from? It came from a nomad Indian tribe here in the state of Virginia. Probably pictured one of their tents they lived in. We know they lived in teepees as well. Well, what type of formation is this? This is a drapery formation of pure laden mineral waters. Yes, just like you girls like your kitchen living room curtains, right? Mother Nature did a good job ironing these. Probably kept the children away. And it also can be likened to a shower curtain. Why? Well, here's all Luray Cavern's bath towel. This is where the impurities come from the mineral water. You can see how thin and fragile they are. The light shine right through them. Off to my right here is our giant oak tree. Sorry there are no branches for the children to go climbing in it. If you can't see it, you'll see it from the lower walkway in a few minutes, our giant oak tree. But our main attraction here lies at our feet. This is our great fallen stalactite. It fell from the ceiling many, many years ago. Once again, we'll talk about it from the lower walkway. But maybe I can ask a few young minds here to come up to this formation. Maybe step up. What do you think, guys? You know what this might be? This formation right here? I'll tell you what these college kids told me. It's just one big, giant rock. That's all. Little wishing rock. And a tugboat. Here's a little tugboat. Huh? Right. Let's step up to the handrail to your right. Step up to the handrail to your right. Yes. You touch them and turn them flat. They never recover. Only if they're a little white on the top, they might recover. It takes about 1,000 years. So I don't care if you have expensive or cheap hamstring, it still kills you. Just think about it doing to your hand. We have our Virginia strip of bacon. Pretty soon we'll have our eggs and bacon on the way out. In case you missed it, these stalactites here that you see off to the left as you pass by, the reason why they're blackened, Andrew Campbell used to play on those with a black rubber hose. He also believed in not touching the formations. Somebody asked me about the formation here, the broken ones. Actually, they were broken off during the railroad era. Months in jail. That's what the laws are today. But anyway, our great fallen stalactite is our main object of discussion right here. It fell from the ceiling over 7,000 years ago due to a disturbance at the surface of the earth. It came tumbling down, all 170 tons. That's 130 pounds per cubic foot. Any questions? I'll just give you a little excerpt about Benton Stebbins, the photographer. Well, originally he was not a photographer. He was a carpenter by trade. Unfortunately, he suffered a carpentry accident and lost the use of his right hand. Couldn't even pick up a pencil. Like Senator Don McCain in the White House. Well, how did he come down to the caverns? Well, he used his good hand while he held onto the ropes while he had a lit candle stuck in his mouth. I say that's pretty adventurous. He later on, after losing the caverns, remember 3 years later, after the fraud, that court battle, well, he became the mayor of Luray, went on to other ventures in life. They all seemed to fail until he stumbled on the early fermentations of colored pigment paint. So now you know where color paint comes from. Sad to say he died of pneumonia in 1906. Whatever happened to the two brothers, Andrew and William Campbell, the sheriff and the tinsmith? Believe it or not, they became tour guides in the big, big hotel that the railroads built for 11 years, approximately, until 1904 when it burned to the ground. 1905, Mr. Northcott bought it from the mighty railroads and started the private corporation called the Beautiful Caverns of Luray. The sign is still outside the building. Well, now you know some of the story. Actually, let's shift back over to our imaginations once again. We have our singing coyote or howling wolf looking up at the moonlight here. And we have for our children on the opposite side on the ridge here, a little woodsy owl with his arms folded, right here on the side of the hill. Watch your step coming down here, and walk with the step. Wherever you went, use the handrails for mine. Please don't throw any money in the water. Once again, save it for the wishing well. Maintenance people will get around to security. Huh? That's understandable. Anyway, this is where you find the only living organism, right here. Actually, this was all filled with water years ago. He used to walk across through here with cobblestones. Andrew William Campbell, the Phantom Chasers. This is where you find the blind albino shrimp. Because the water is being agitated, they're no longer on the surface, they're off to the side where it's calm. They're only as big as the dot of a head of a pin. They're white albino blind shrimp. So that's the only living organism. So no bats, no bears, no raccoons, no snakes. Oh yes, once in a while a bat might fly in, or a squirrel at the end of the fall, he might come in. He forgot he can bury his nuts this far below the surface in the fall, usually leaves in a few minutes. What you do find down here is a small salamander or a small spider. Usually they'll run away before you get to see them. So you have nothing to fear. No ghosts and no bats and no bears. Okay, well here in Giant's Hall, anybody want to take a guess how deep we are? If you look up, look up. 200 feet. Oh, this guy plays Price is Right. At least we didn't say $1, right? But anyway, yes, 164 feet right here, our deepest point of descent. But if you come back on August 13th, yes, it goes down to about 200 feet here behind me. This is called our Palace of Splendor. This is what brought me back as a tourist, because I've come down to a tree decorated, or a seashell, or an upside-down ice cream cone. What flavor ice cream cone?
Vanilla.
Not Chunky Monkey. No, this is Rocky Road, of course. And if you really use your imagination, it's Marge Simpson's $25 hit. Here on the opposite side, on the side of the hill, we have our sunken Titanic ship for the moviegoers, while it sits at the ocean floor. Anybody like Disneyland, Disney World? Who do we have here? Is this Pluto or Goofy?
Goofy.
Pluto, right. With the Magic Kingdom here at the top of the hill. Probably where Mickey's hiding now. Well, let's go to Cathedral Hall and hear some real rock and roll music by the Grand Stalactite Orchestra. Once again, I'd like to invite children in first. Children first, please. They have 4 legs. All right, good. Let's step up to the organ. Of all underground ballrooms in all the underground world. Please step up to the organ.
Oh.
Step up, step up. Maybe you can help me out once again. What is the organ missing? Pipe rod playing, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, an organ player. That's also missing. Maybe some sheep music. And somebody to sing along. Maybe a choir. Thank goodness they don't ask me to sing on the horse by the end of the day. Let me tell you a little bit more about the organ. It's got rubber stairs here. It's on a heated base, protected from the humidity. It's been restored and refinished about 3 years ago by H.L. Hoffman there in Waynesboro with marine finish. I met the individual that did it. Also, it has a plexiglass shield here to protect it from the dripping stalagmites. It is programmable up to about 35 different songs in tunes and expandable. However, it is locked and closed right now. It is only open for special occasions, one of them being weddings. The other one is naturally television shows. Good Morning America, Mr. Rogers, PLC The Wedding Network, and Ripley's Believe It or Not, just to name a few. Actually, we filmed a commercial down here the other week. You probably heard about it. It was on Channel 7. Well, a lot of people thought we were filming the Geico commercial with the Monkey Man. We had about 100 to 200 people looking in the windows of the cafe, and all they saw was a couple But anyway, the founder of the organ at the plaque here, Mr. Leland W. Springfield, Sr. from Springfield, Virginia. He came down here as a retired electronics engineer and a mathematician with an associate and a tall ladder and a rubber mallet. Well, back after being commissioned from 1954 to 1957, it took him 3 years to tap into over 3,000 stalactites and an area of 3.5 acres. At one time, it was considered the largest instrument in an underground world. Ripley's, believe it or not, classify it now as the only instrument in an underground cave. Here, if you turn around behind y'all, he was only successful in finding 37 stalactites of musical tone quality. This one here is the B flat key. If you notice the solenoid or the plunger assembly, acts like a rubber mallet. After it's activated by the computer music box assembly behind the wall, it strikes the stalactite ever so gently, causing the calcium crystals inside to vibrate. The vibrations come down the stalactite to those wires there, are fed to an amplifier and speakers naturally for our listening enjoyment. Let's play another game. Ain't that true? Good at it? I'll give you a hint. It's not Here Comes the Bride, because it's not on the order. This one's going to be struck some 20-some times. This one about 4 or 5, and there's about half a dozen other plunger assemblies on the outside wall. Once again, enjoy the music and see if you can guess the name. The winner gets a couple of cake kisses. Church hymn from Psalm 46. Well, sorry it wasn't by the Rolling Stones. But you can say the rock sticks right out. Some people would say that's real rock and roll music. Here for weddings too, you see a picture of a dove here in the form of a stalactite above the organ. Here in the chat. Well, what's coming up ahead? Oh, give yourself a nice pat on the back. Congratulations, you've done a mile so far. Only a quarter mile yet to go. Next stop is Princess Cup. Coming up behind me, in front of y'all, is the most productive wishing well in the world. Got started in 1954. No connection to Mr. Sprinkle on organ, however. Why is it the most productive wishing well in the world? Well, they've raised over $600,000 for charity and nonprofit organizations. Usually by the end of the year, December and January, actually that's the end of the year here, there's about 3 feet of coins in there and about 6 feet deep of water. Usually about $25,000 to $35,000 they collect every year for charity. You'll see from the sign hanging above the well. The water looks kind of greenish in color. That comes from the copper oxide from the penny. Be careful or note a word of caution about when you make your coin toss in, things in your upper pockets, your glasses, naturally your camera, and your cap. We don't want you to lose any of those things. It only accepts coins. No MasterCard, Visa, loved ones, cash, or jewelry. You can hold on to those items. However, when you make wishes, remember what they say. Be careful what you ask for. You might get it. Let's go make a wish. Named after Colonel Morrison, it is the most popular place for pictures. Natural built-in picture frame. 20 yards to my right. I'll wait, I'll meet you there. Yeah. 20 yards to my right. I'll wait 20 yards. Please step up. Marsden's Hall, 20 yards to my right. Give everybody a chance to make a wish. They say if you get on the top of this rock here, it's good luck for life. Good luck trying and hope your wish comes true. Here's the natural picture frame.
Nathaniel, don't touch it.
Anybody like a picture here? I'd be glad to take your picture. This is a natural built-in picture frame. You can stand in front here or the back or looking in. Natural built-in picture frame. You usually use it for people with respiratory or breathing problems. Sad to say the house burned in 1940. But before that, it was considered the first home with central home air conditioning because the air was also pretty cool down here. Now the owners have a guest house up there that you can see from the highway. Well, where's those world famous fried eggs? About 50 yards on your right hand side, the lower right hand side. You'll see the little calcium crystal gels inside, broken by the construction workers in 1920. If you don't like fried eggs, you can call clams on the half shell or oysters if you're a seafood lover. After that, we'll stop at the War Memorial for total cave darkness.
One right here. And water is over here.
Looks kind of like a stage.
This one like this, just
We're going to stop at the War Memorial for total cave darkness. Anybody scared of darkness? Harry Potter's Owl Hedwig from the Harry Potter books and movies. If you're familiar. A lot of times their candles, got broken, or their matches got wet, or maybe they just lost them, or they just plain ran out. After all, they didn't have Ziploc bags. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Where were you when the light was walking on a sunken floor here today? Angel Campbell had us crawl through holes like this, about 25 yards on his belly, to explore the unexplored portions of the cavern. There are no unexplored portions today. The geology book is in black and white up there. I believe it has 2 pictures in it. We look like peanut butter and jelly amidst the Dolomite Rock. The Dolomite Rock there was at the fried eggs. It stretches from the state of Maine to Georgia. We do entertain over 500,000 people yearly, and we're ranked 6th largest in size in caverns in the world. 4th largest in size in the United States. Number 1 caverns is Mammoth Caverns down in Kentucky. 38,000 square miles and still growing. Number 2 is the Carlsbad Caverns out in New Mexico. And number 3 is called Wyandotte in Indiana. But most brochures say that Luray Caverns is number 1 on the East Coast. So hooray for Luray. Also, you remember, this is how the caverns used to breathe. This is the boxworks in ancient times. And remember the stalactites or tights and the stalagmites and what they might for someday is a column. Here's a waterfall or a flowstone formation, and here's the drapery formation or the wafer formations off to the right.
Joe and Josiah trying to fly in the jet plane. They're controlling it inside.
So you can see. I think I heard Joe. They're upside down.
Yeah. Yelling at Joe.
Because they had no written language. It's what the English wrote, the artifacts that are found, and through paintings. This dance circle is from a painting by John White. He was the former governor of the lost colony of Roanoke. All we basically know about this is that it's a dance circle and it was a sacred place. Maybe later on we will, with uncovering of artifacts, we will learn more. Now, when the English came here in 1607, as I mentioned, the Indians came. Now, the chief that reigned supreme, his real name was Chief Winhusanakok. He later became known as Chief Powhatan because of the area where he was from. He had 30 plus tribes underneath him. 6 he had inherited through his mother. They inherited through the mother line. And so if you go in the museum, you can see on the map the range of area. They had about 14,000 Indians, and they ranged from Washington, D.C. through Richmond to the borders of North Carolina. That was the name of the house Powhatan's lived in. Now, when you go through, keep in mind that they were used for sleeping, storing of all their supplies, and for preserving foods. It was like a smokehouse. So you see the doorway there. Picture a layer of smoke going all the way up through the chimney. And they would hang their venison and their fish and their vegetables from the roof. So I'll take you in and I'll meet you on the other side of the door. And then we can talk about it. Now, tall people, duck.
Like a fall.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, you know, you think the Indians are just basically like, don't have a lot of people working out here because we are in oh, you negotiated that great. I saw that one. Yeah, this is kind of an aerobic streams for fishing and their gardening. 50% of their diet was from agriculture, 50% was from hunting and fishing. Now, your Yahagans, as I said, they were used for storing of the supplies, sleeping, and for preserving of the foods. And around that, we're going to plant our squash. You gardeners, you know many, many varieties of squash. Are we coming? Good job, good job. And the squash leaves quite often are wide, so they're going to keep down with the weeds. Okay? All right. Okay, girls, we can take a little break now. You can just lay your sticks down. Okay, water break. All right. Okay, let's have a hand for our volunteers there. Good job, good job. Okay, so we're going to garden. Now, somebody asked what this wonderful house is. That's from another painting by John White. That's called a scarecrow house. How old are you, young man?
They got string,
Right.
they got all kinds of
Here.
How do we get?
See that? You can get blue from, but the rest of your leg, here, try this out. Yeah, you can see that. That's where you're gonna get your blue from.
And that,
Now,
okay. How are we doing
those
there?
strings? Yeah.
Got it off
You
yet?
have those strings too in their
We have a while to go,
We're
right?
gonna take those out.
Now, you have to
Have
notice
his
that
body.
to be a Powhatan, you have to be nice and patient. Some things, like we know, take time. All right, that's good, guys. You can put your shells.